make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular town board meeting held on 1/23/2019.
Second.
Any board comments or discussion?
I just had one correction on the abstracts, and Tracy has already taken care of that, so you should have an amended front page from the abstract.
Yeah, I think we made that change.
Yes.
Yes, we did. Okay. Any other board comments or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve abstract number 5, dated January 30th, 2019, abstract number 6, dated February 6th, 2019, and abstract number 7, dated February 13th, 2019, as presented.
Second.
Any board comments or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget modifications and amendments as listed.
Second.
Any board comments or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Well, now we're honored tonight to have Police Phase 2 graduates with us. Mark Lembo and Casey Lucido. If you guys would come up.
Nope, not yet.
Hi. Oh,
Please stay down.
okay.
You guys come down.
Okay, we'll come down. Great.
Do what they say, Mark, they got guns.
What are my bullets?
Right here. Nope, not yet.
I know everyone's here for the town board meeting, however, we're going to do a quick ceremony regarding our Phase 2 graduation. I'll explain a little bit about what that is. About 15 years ago, New York State decided to implement a pre-employment pilot police academy throughout New York State. Now, basically what that means is, traditionally, if someone goes to the police academy, they go through the civil service process. The police agency hires them, and they have to go through a 26-week police academy, then a 16-week field training program, which is, what that means is, if you want to hire an officer today, they're not going to be on their own for approximately 10 months. So you are basically, the municipality is paying them throughout their training. The pre-employment program allows people that are interested in law enforcement to put themselves through the first part of the police academy, which is approximately 23 weeks, on their own. They pay their own way to go. Once they get out of that program, they can apply to agencies. However, they still meet the same civil service requirements as any other police officer trying to get hired. The benefit is that once an agency hires someone that has Phase 1, they attend a 4-week Phase 2 program and a 16-week field training program. This benefits municipalities, especially town and village agencies, immensely. Instead of investing 10 months worth of salary and training time, they only have to invest 4 to 5 months in training and salary time. It saves a lot of money. In 2005, the town of Cicero, looked into hosting our own Phase 2 training program. What that entails, what it entails is us to put officers through approximately 80 hours of handgun training, 16 hours of patrol rifle, 16 hours of active shooter response, 8 hours of taser and impact weapons, and 8 hours of behavioral observation situational awareness training. Why did we take on this role? Well, to save money. Be fiscally responsible to the taxpayers. We don't have to pay the tuition, pay the officer overtime for travel costs. We can provide this training. To provide this training to one officer is great. However, we do open it up to other local agencies who pay a small tuition to send the officers to our training program. This is our second class that we've done. The first one, like I said, was in 2015. The last one started August 20th, and they finished their field training program on January 8th. When we do this, it allows us to get more one-on-one attention to the officers, and In my opinion, it's much better than sending someone to a larger academy where the instructor ratio is much larger. What I like to do, we do have some certificates to give them, certificates of completion. They receive their state certificates whenever the state sends them out, so they're not timely, but we do send them a certificate, we do give them a certificate of completion. Andy, Sergeant does as well. Officer Mark Lembo, can you come up? I have Mark's right here. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Mark, this says the Town of Cicero Police Training Academy Certificate of Completion, presented to Officer Mark Lembo, successfully completion of Phase 2 Police Equivalency, basic course for police officers, August 20th, 2018 to January 8th, 2019, and it's presented this date, February 13th, 2019. Signed by our Chief of Police, Joe Snell. We will miss you, Joe, and also by Sergeant James Snell. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service to our town. Thank you.
In the class, besides Mark, was Officer Casey Placido from the North Syracuse Police Department. Could you please come up? And it was extremely beneficial for us to work with the Village of North Syracuse because we work so close on a daily basis. So for us to train together is extremely beneficial to everybody.
Casey, this it says the same as the other one. I just want to remind you that my wife, Mary Ellen, and I live in North Syracuse. Okay, so congratulations. Thank you for your service to our community. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Get some pictures?
Jim, you want to take them?
I've taken a
You
ton.
got
Yeah.
them?
Right, no way I'm gonna use
Younger and thinner, Jim. That's how you got to make it.
Oh,
You guys are going to have to turn sideways or...
if everyone looks at me, I got
Because
them.
he can't.
They're all in there. You ready?
We're ready.
Jim Snell, here.
Oh, look at you.
Yep. Okay.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. You're going to, I'll just make an announcement before this. We're going to have our first public hearing. There was talk about adding people to the planning board. The planning board used to have 7 people, it went to 5. There was talk with the old planning board chair of moving it back to 7. We are not going to make any decision tonight. All we're going to do is follow through with the public hearing. And that being said, I have proof of publication and posting. And if anyone would like to express their views on moving the planning board back from 5 to 7 members, you're welcome to speak. Anyone for or against, please come to the microphone. And again, no vote will be taken.
Chet Kaczynski, 7169 Island Road. There's absolutely no reason to go from 5 to 7. I believe that when I was supervisor or sometime back then, we changed it back from 7 to 5. The only reason I can see where you'd want additional members on the planning board is if something came up where you had to have a supermajority or you actually wanted to force an issue where you need those extra people to vote in favor of it. So I would be definitely against it. It's absolutely no reason to go forward with it. And 5, as we all know, the less people you have on any type of a committee, the more you can accomplish in less time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Don Snyder, Monroe Road, member of the planning committee. Right now, I would say no, we certainly don't need any more people on the planning committee, planning board. If anything, you might want to think about in the future, not right now because I think there's a financial situation. Number one, logistically, and that's where I start, I'm a planner. You can't get 7 people on the dais, so that's silly, but it's number one. 2, if we were to do 2, it's probably $5,000. We have not got $5,000 in the budget, and $5,000 in our budget right now is tight. It's not like it used to be $1,000, no big deal. I know the current new chair is neutral on whether we were to add 2 or to not. But I would think that if we want next year, we might want to think about going to 2 ad hocs rather than 1. And the reason for that is there may be times when you in fact want a full board, 5, but there are 2 people might be on vacation or out of town or sick. So it might make more sense to be thinking next year of appointing 2 ad hocs rather than 1. But we certainly, the only issues that we've had since I've been on would not have been different had we had 7 members. When we've only had 2 that I'm aware of since I've been on, and I think we're learning how to listen to the public, which that would possibly have been one of the reasons to, in fact, increase the board. But I think 5 is working fine.
Thank you, John. And anyone else? Thank you.
Nate Riley, Concom PAC. I think I spoke up in opposition to this last time. Councilor Carpenter is shaking his head in agreement. He's that time expressed some skepticism over this. I continue to express the same skepticism over expanding it from 5 to 7. I would just like to know what the reasons are for that. I think former supervisor, Bazinski raised an excellent point about monetary concerns. As the last system has set up, the monetary concerns are very serious and when we're trying to make all these adjustments to our budget going forward. And so I just continue to rise in opposition to expanding the planning board from 5 to 7.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Hi, Joe Rosito, Muskrat Bay Road. I'm also on the planning board. I'm not in favor of going to 7 people. I've been on the board for over 7 years, don't remember exactly how many, but we've handled everything that's come before us. I can't see an issue that we couldn't take care of. Economics, that's another reason. I just don't think we need it. If you can convince me otherwise, I'd love to hear it, but I think anything that you put for us, in front of us, we can take care of. And what Don said about maybe 2 ad hoc, if we need to. But
You'll have to let us know if you need it.
good board members now, and I think they have a good mix of what's going on in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, gentlemen and Councilor Boykin. Can you tell me the rationale behind going from 5 to 7?
No, I don't want to, yes, I will. The former planning board, the thought was this. The former planning board chair who chose not to be reassigned for personal reasons. There was 2 reasons. Number one, Chairman Smith literally did the work of 3 people. So that was my buy-in to his idea that we look at expanding the board back to 7. Chairman Smith met with me many times with developers during the day, but he had that flexibility because he ran his own business. So after hours, I mean, there was just an incredible amount of work that this guy did that he was not compensated for. The second thing, so that got my attention. The second thing that was important to me, or kind of stuck out to me, is we had a very cantankerous, if you will, project. It caused a lot of controversy on both sides that was approved, and people were not happy with the planning board. They were not happy with the decisions the planning board made. My feeling was this, and Bob and I had talked about this, is the more eyes we put on a project, there's some very talented people in our community, so the more eyes that we put on a project, sometimes the better the decisions that are made. And I'm not saying that our planning board has not made good decisions, because they have, but sometimes I think if you add people with various skill sets and put more eyes on it, I think you get better decisions. So we're not making a decision, we're not voting on doing it. We held a hearing to see if people wanted it. It's overwhelmingly a no. The planning board says no, and we'll let it go there.
And Deborah Gardner says no.
And Deborah Gardner says no. So there
Thank
you
you
go.
very much.
Very well. Hope that answers your question.
Good, good.
Okay. One more.
This shouldn't even be on, oh, I gotta get my name, Carol Party, Virginia Road. This
Excuse me,
shouldn't
I
even be on
can't
the
hear
agenda.
you.
This shouldn't even be on the agenda. It was proven years back that 5 is better than 7, and this is why they voted 2 out. This planning board is doing a good job, and you wanting to add 2 more is a slap in their face. These 5 members do their job and are always prepared for the meetings. They have the future of the town in mind when they make decisions. So I vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then we will move and close the public discussion. Thank you. Next, public hearing for proposed zone changes. Mrs. Boyd.
Public hearing to consider repealing Article 2, Section 50-5.
No, next one down.
I'm sorry.
Councilor Boyke, next one down.
We have 2.
Yeah, but she was reading
The 5,
she's reading
the
the
5 number, I'm sorry.
Okay.
She's reading number 6.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
There we go. Start over. Set a public hearing, propose zone changes. Move for the adoption of a resolution to schedule a public hearing for Wednesday, February 27, 2019, at 6:30 to consider a zone change from general commercial GC to residential one-family R10 for the property located at 7459 West Murray Drive, tax map number 076.-01-07.0.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
To schedule a public hearing for Wednesday, March 27, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. to consider zone changes to parcels along Bartell Road and Muskrat Bay Road having zoning classifications that are divided by zoning district boundary lines.
Second.
Any board discussion? This continues what we've started 2 years ago of proactively rezoning the town of Cicero at our expense, not at the owner's expense. We have a lot of properties in the town, residential properties that have dual zones or sometimes multiple zones. So for example, you might have a commercial in the front of the property, residential in the front of the property. You walk out the back door and you're zoned agricultural, and then you get to the back fence line and you're zoned industrial, for example. The problem with this is, and we have a lot of properties like this, and we also have properties who are not zoned properly. So for example, we had properties that were zoned agricultural. Well, the code calls for 1 acre of property to be zoned, at minimum to be zoned agricultural. And what we had is we had very small lots sitting on agricultural zoning. Well, what does that do? Well, it does a couple things. Number one, if the owner of that property, for example, wanted to put a swimming pool in, and they had to come in front of zoning to get that pool approved, because the zoning is not correct on the property, am I correct here? You wouldn't get the, probably wouldn't get the permit, correct?
Yeah, in principle, yeah.
In principle. And the second thing is after the housing crisis, our thought was after 2008, when the market crashed, banks are, I don't know, maybe it's changing now, it's going back a little bit, I'm being told and I read. But banks were very stringent for a while. So if you wanted to buy or sell a property and it wasn't zoned correctly, they're going to make you get the zoning to be able to buy or sell that property. So the only way you would be able to do that is you would have to bring your case in front of this board, you would have to pay fees, you would have to buy permits, the board would have to rule, hopefully in your favor, so that you could sell your property or purchase a piece of property. And our thought was, well, let's just proactively do this. This is what you've elected us to do. We will proactively identify those properties. Thank you, Steve, your office. And then we will go ahead and notify the public, and we will correct that at our expense, not at your expense. So that's where our thought was on that.
As long as we're going to do a little bit of discussion, I'll join in.
Okay?
The zoning with buying and selling has not changed. As a matter of fact, it's probably more strict, which just makes everyone more proactive when they go to sell the property. Make sure that it is zoned correctly, and also that you have all your permits in place. Those are two good things. Part of this, I had talked with Steve Procopio in the codes, and I had questioned a lot of the Beach Road area because it's a lot of DEC, it's mostly swamp, and I just felt that sending out letters and wasting a lot of town's money in regards to something that was never going to be developed anyway, but we'll carry on with that later. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to get to every single property in the town of Cicero, wherever they sit, for the benefit of the homeowner. I'll take that to a vote. Did we get a second on that? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Move on to the awarding the brush contract. I'll give you some, we had a situation where we had put out the bid. Actually, we don't do our contracts, just so you know. We contract with, it's a intermunicipal agreement with Onondaga County. Onondaga County writes our contracts for us for brush, for trash, etc. Those are the two major contracts that they do. It's something that the town took over before I was here. It would cost us about $25,000 to prepare and put a bid out. So we have an intermunicipal with them. They do it. They write the specs. They put out the notifications. They do the bid opening, and for the most part now, they look at the suitability of the people or of the bidders on the contract. We set our brush contract out last year. It expired. There was a lawsuit filed by one of the people who are here tonight, and basically the lawsuit was, well, wait a minute, this should have gone, it went out as a request for quote or RFP, request for proposal, instead of a bid. I don't know, that's the way they sent it out. We had nothing to do with it here. And it went through the courts, and the court ruled, the judge ruled that it should have gone out as a bid. The judge did not rule that the applicant should have received the bid, or that the town did anything wrong, or that we had done anything wrong. But he agreed that the bid should have gone out, or it should have gone out as a bid, not as a request for proposal. Consequently, the county redid the bid at the and sent it back out. Bids were open. There was a bid hearing here for anyone who was interested in bidding on it. Bids were open at downtown at the courthouse. And two people had bid, or two companies had bid on it. On-Site Development, our current vendor, bid on that contract, as did Last Chance, who's sitting in the back of the room. Anyway, in those contracts, and I'm going to read this to you in a minute and we'll get on, there are certain specifications that by law, when we put it out, that a vendor has to meet. And I'll get into that in a second, what the outcomes of those things were. So a contract is not necessarily let just because somebody, and correct me counsel where I'm wrong, a contract doesn't necessarily have to be let just because somebody came in and said, well, you're going to bid $2, I'll bid $1. There's also qualifications that go along with that bid above and beyond just a dollar value. And that's what we have here. So we put certain things in the contract, and I'll get to those in a minute. It's standard for these contracts, and then it is incumbent upon the people bidding on those contracts to be able to meet those bid specifications. So whereas pursuant to a shared service agreement between the town of Cicero and the Onondaga County Division of Purchase, the county solicited bid responses to a duly published bid request for curbside brush collection and disposal services within the town. Copies of the bid specifications have been provided to the board and are on file with the town clerk. Qualified bidders were asked to provide responses to the bid request with detailed exhibits supporting their reply. The base bid contract period is from April 1st, 2019 to April 31st, 2020, and then March 30th, 2020 through January 31st, 2021. And whereas the county and town received 3 responses to the bid request, they are as follows. The first was Syracuse Haulers, and they chose not to bid. They backed out. It was Last Chance Recycling, whose owner is here with us tonight. And they bid the base amount of $525,000 for the base bid and $265,000 for the renewal years of March 29th, 2021 to January 31st, 2022, and $265,000 for the renewal years March 28th, 2022 to January 30th, 2023. And then we had On-Site Development, our current vendor, who bid $630,000 for the base bid and $315,000 for the renewal years March 29th, 2021 to January 31st, 2022, and $315,000 for the renewal period from March 28th, 2022 to January 30th, 2023. Let me just wet my whistle. Certain things, let's see. I'm going to read you some notes. In this bid request that went out, not just this one, but every one, the town requires driver abstracts issued by New York State DMV for every listed driver. In the bids that came back, only one bidder supplied what we had asked for. One company listed 5 drivers who will be operating equipment in the town of Cicero, but provided only one abstract. And in fact, that abstract was not complete. It was only page 1. It didn't show convictions. It didn't show. It didn't give us any information that DMV has on the driver, other than just the cover page that said who he was. The second, we had asked for last year when this bid went out, we had asked for 3 letters of recommendation from other towns that had been done business with. When it went out this last time, last month, or 2 months ago, or whatever it was, the most recent bid, we reduced that to just 2 letters of recommendation to make sure that everyone had a chance. Only one provider, and that again is on-site, provided letters of recommendation. The other bidder provided no letters of recommendation, but put a comment that we have completed 9 years of identical work described in this curbside brush and disposal contract for the towns of Manlius and Clay, and have never received a written complaint from either town. That's not what we asked for. We asked for letters of recommendation from similar towns that you've done business in. And going back to the abstracts, only on-site provided complete abstracts and for each one of their drivers, and also with background checks that we required. We had full background checks from you, thank you. And then the third thing we asked for that is mandated in the bid is that we can prove that we have vehicles and that those vehicles are able to do the job, and this is a legal requirement, that those vehicles be operational and be inspected and be registered with New York State on the bid opening, or the bid, not the opening, but the bid award. That is New York State law. I reviewed that with your brother today. And you're shaking your head, yes. Only one company provided a list of vehicles that are registered with, and actually it was quite a few of them. The other one, Last Chance, provided 2 vehicle identification numbers. VIN number 4V29CFP E2TR717476 and vehicle number 4V5DCFP C2TR717478. There were some other vehicles, but these were listed as well. And I quote, they would be serviced, inspected, insured, and registered by April 1st, 2019 and ready for work. That's not what the law says, and that's not what the requirements were. I think it's, based on that, I think the town is, my recommendation is we award this bid to Onsite because they had met the bid specs as requested. The other one did not meet the bid specs, and they've disqualified themselves.
I'll move to the adoption of resolution awarding the town of Cicero curbside brush collection and disposal services contract to On-Site Development LLC for a period as specified in the bid response submitted for the base sum of $630,000, and authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract and any other documents necessary to complete this transaction.
Second, any board comments or discussion?
Yes. The word abstract does actually not appear in the bid specifications at all. It does say the contractor will verify that all drivers and clean driver's licenses defined as no more than 2 points. The town of Cicero requires a successful contractor to submit the employee safety records immediately upon request of the town supervisor. There is no question that the other vendor did not completely comply, and he should have complied. However, I think he substantially complied, and moreover, at this point, we have a vendor who is offering services at over $100,000 savings for the first term, a vendor who has sued us twice and we spent a significant amount of money in litigation with. I believe, and I've spoken to counsel, and I'm not alone, that at this point, we should award the contract to him. If he fails to meet the requirements, we will fire him and we never have to award him a contract ever again. So to me, it's a win-win. I mean, there will be an inconvenience, obviously, if we do have to terminate his contract. If he does the job, we save money. If he doesn't do the job, we never have to have this discussion regarding him again. So at this point, I'm not in favor of awarding it to onsite.
I also would like to interject here that I feel that with our financial situation in the town, that $100,000 is a lot of money. And being not an attorney as Mr. Park is, I understand the bid process. When I was supervisor, our engineers wrote our contracts for the brush and for the trash. I feel that the parts of the contract could have been verified and substantiated, and in this case, I also would be in favor of awarding the contract to Last Chance, because I feel that $100,000 is a lot of money to be saved, and also the opportunity, if he does not perform, that we are in a position to do something about it. So I'm not in favor of.
Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit more to that. Because I personally made phone calls to the towns and talked to the people that Last Chance had done business for. And not one will write a letter of recommendation. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why, but just suffice it to say that none of them would recommend, and none of them did recommend these people. My other concern is this. If we award a contract to a vendor who does not meet the bid specifications, clearly doesn't meet it, and why even have them? So if we just walk in and we say, all right, just give me the lowest price and we'll go with that, then why did we waste our time with all this? And of course, there was other issues too, where there was threats made about we're going to sue you, we're coming after you, and all this kind of stuff. We do not award contracts in the town of Cicero to people who threaten us. We issue contracts and we award contracts to people who have met the bid specifications fairly, and they've been out there. And in this case, we'll call for a vote. My vote will be no, because clearly he did not meet the bid specifications, and we're not going to be bullied into doing that. So anyway, that being said, thank you very much. Any more comments? No? Okay. That being said, I'll call for a vote. And Ms. Castleman, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Of course.
Clarification, this is to award the contract
To onsite.
to onsite.
Right.
Counselor Boyke,
I vote no.
Counselor Cushman,
Yes.
Counselor Conway,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
No.
and Supervisor Zaneski.
Yes. We passed 3-2, thank you. Highway garage, Dick?
Yep, highway garage. Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the following expenses for the highway garage project. $13,061.60 to MRV, $1,225 to Terracon, $34,325.83 to Lawman Heating and Cooling, $44,948.30 to NAP Electric Incorporated, $83,552.50 to Brosh Mechanical Incorporated, and $140,876.20 to Building Innovation Group.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
Whereas the Town of Cicero Board, hereinafter referred to as the Town Board, awarded the contract to A.J. Montclair Incorporated in the amount of $377,777 to construct the foundations for the new highway facility. Whereas, due to weather constraints, the work could not be completed during the construction winter season of 2017-2018. The work was not completed, including a portion of the caissons, all of the grade beams, and backfill. In July 2018, it was decided to request a credit from A.J. Montclair for the incompleted work and add it to the general construction bid. A portion of the material remained on site. Whereas MRB worked with the contractor to evaluate the work that was completed, along with the materials that remained on site that can be used for the general contractor of the building. It was determined upon evaluation of the credit in the amount of $101,193.08 was a fair adjustment for the work described above, reducing the total contract amount to $293,549.02. Now, therefore, be resolved that the town board accept a decrease in the contract amount of $101,193.08 to the contract of A.J. Montclair Incorporated by a credit change order to the contract. The town board further resolves, that the supervisor be authorized to sign the change order and appropriate documents for this modification.
Second.
Any comments or discussion on that? Don and Don, thank you very much. Don Bloss, Don Snyder, you guys are on that building, and we couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much for getting the money back for the taxpayer. Any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
Move the adoption resolution to approve the lighting proposal for the intersections of Party Road and Carmenica Drive and Lakeshore Road and Carmenica Drive provided by National Grid to be included within the general fund streetlights.
Second.
Thank you, and I think, Lumi, I think you would ask for that, those lights to be put up. Was it you who asked to put up? We got it, they're happening now. Any other comments on the street lights there? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
2018 audits, move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the following expenses to Ben & Company, PLLC. $4,700 for the South Bay LoSAP 2018 audit, budget code A10104. $2,100 for the 2018 court audit, budget code A11104. And $1,600 for the 2018 deferred compensation audit, budget code A13154.
Second.
Any board comments or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you. Planning board ad hoc. We had when Mr. Snyder went to the planning board as a full-time member of that board, he had been an ad hoc. That's someone who fills in if there's a sickness or an injury or an absence. That left an opening. What we did was we did two things. Number one, in anticipation of increasing the board permanent members from 5 to 7. Excuse me. I asked our HR director to solicit applicants from the public. We got, I think, 11 of them, maybe 11 or 12. There could be a couple of stragglers that people talked to me about coming in. Those were in anticipation of additional openings on the board, which my gut tells me is not going to happen. Okay. This ad hoc position is a part-time position, and when we talked about Dewey Shriver, Dewey has been here. I'm going to tell you, I talked to Mark Marzullo and other members of the board. I don't know if I talked to you. Maybe I did, because I think I addressed you. But anyway, Dewey's been a member of this community forever. He attends every one of these meetings. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable people outside of a board member that we have here, and I think there's only a few meetings that Dewey missed when his wife was gravely ill in the hospital. I had a conversation with Mr. Snyder about it today. I think having an ad hoc like Dewey that everybody knows and likes, he's had a long-term relationship, I'm told, and a friendly relationship with Mark Marzullo, the chair. He has a good, long-standing relationship with Mr. Meyer, who is our deputy supervisor. And certainly I've known you for a long time, but you know that is just because I know you and like you, has nothing to do with that. Anyway, this is a part-time, one-year position that I think, and Don agreed with me. Don, speak up if I'm wrong. We felt that, or I feel that we can get Dewey up to speed, or you can get Dewey up to speed on decisions if you need to for absentees. None of the other people who applied for a full-time position on the board, to our knowledge, has ever attended a meeting. So I think knowledge-wise and experience-wise, Dewey will come up to speed pretty quick. It's a one-year appointment, Dewey, and that gives you an opportunity to feel out the board. No, we're going to make it one. Okay, I think we listed 2, but it'll be a one-year appointment. So that's going to go from 1/1/2019 to 12/31/2019. I'm going to make that correction for the record. But that'll give you a chance to acclimate yourself with the board and you guys to work it out. And if you choose not to remain on, it's only a one-year appointment. They can reappoint you next year. So that's kind of the thought on that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion for the adoption of a resolution to appoint the following. Dewey Shriver is an ad hoc member of the planning board for a term from January 1st, 2019 to 12/31/2019 at a pay rate of $105.57 per meeting.
I'd just like to make a notation that that salary only is when there's a vacancy on the board and Dewey actually sets on the board.
Not true.
No, I'm told it's not.
Not true.
If he attends the meeting,
You attend the meeting as
They
an
are
ad
now,
hoc,
because
you
the
get
ad
paid.
hoc, I was on for 8 years, and the ad hoc never got
That got
paid.
changed in in the first of my ad hoc year, the director of,
So it's your fault.
no,
Well, I'm just trying to.
we didn't have to pay anybody before you
the
were on the
HR
board.
director has, as you know, gotten a lot of things in our government in line with regulations, and that was one of them. No, he will be paid.
I never thought it was fair that the ad hoc sat there meeting after meeting without getting paid, but
And we know there's a vacancy this next Wednesday, so he will be working next Wednesday.
Got it.
that's all I need.
Okay, any other comments?
Well, are we
Did we get
voting
a
on them
second?
together, or
I'm sorry?
are we voting on them together or separately?
Separately.
Okay,
I have one more discussion on
well, yeah, I want to say something too.
Mark, when you had mentioned that you had gone out for openings, if we were going from 5 to 7, I have in front of me the planning board ad hoc member job opening, which was posted on January 16th. And it so states in there that if you're interested in town government, do you want to help promote new business, be a new member of the town planning board, we have an immediate opening for the ad hoc member, and it is a paid position. And you actually, first of all, you would be an employee of the town, and to send your resume to the HR. I contacted Ms. Barony and did get a copy of 14 applications that were for the ad hoc position. So I believe that because it was advertised, the appropriate action would be to, because Mr. Shriver's application was also in there as well, that there should have been some sort of interviewing process that went on, because there were many strong applicants that I felt, and they were for the ad hoc position. That's my discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add, it's no secret that these types of appointments have always been political appointments. They're made, they're approved by the board. They're not advertised like ordinary employment opportunities. They're, you don't solicit applicants like ordinary employment opportunities, and we got quite a few. I don't have an objection to the nominee, but I do have an objection to a process which started like it was an ordinary employment process and then ended with an appointment with no interviews or any processing of that. So as a result of that, and I have no objection to the nominee, I do have an objection to the process, which seems flawed to me, given the way it was done. So I'm going to have to abstain because I don't feel comfortable voting on the result of a flawed process.
Thank you for that comment.
I just have one comment, and that was that I served 8 years on the planning board, and I was appointed without any interview or application process by the then supervisor at that time. And also, when I finished my 7 years, after 1 year being appointed and then renewed for 7 years, at the end of that term, I got fired, for a better term. Basically, Supervisor Boyke was elected, and she decided that she wanted to put somebody else on the board, and she did that. And there was no application, there was no interviews, and as a matter of fact, the individual, I spoke to him personally, first day he was on the board, had never attended a board meeting before. Dewey has probably attended more board meetings than I have after 8 years on the board. He's been there forever. Town boards, he's here every time, and the board. So to get somebody up and running quickly, I think Dewey is a good job.
Someone for the ad hoc position, political or not, I'm not saying, and I
Right,
agree,
right.
because Obviously, you need to have 3 votes in order to get your vote, so it wasn't just mine, so
Thank you.
just want to clarify that as well.
Okay.
But anyway, that is, the process is what I'm arguing, that what we're presenting to the public has to be something that has to be followed, and this transparency is what I'm looking for. So, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Councilman, will you call for the vote, please?
This is to,
To appoint Dewey as a one-year ad hoc.
Counselor Boyke,
I will abstain because for the process that was not followed.
Counselor Cushman,
Yes.
Counselor Conway,
Yes.
Counselor Carp,
I abstain.
and Supervisor Vineski.
Yes. We'll get better. Let me see, the next one, John.
No, you got to do the secretary.
Oh, we gotta do the-
Okay. I move for the adoption of a resolution to appoint Cynthia Chamberlain as the new planning board clerk, replacing Lisa Stewart effective 2/6/19 at a pay rate of $207 per meeting.
Second.
Any board discussion?
I would just like to comment as a liaison to the planning board that Lisa, who was the last secretary, done a fantastic job. She's very efficient to make sure that she gets the names of everyone, and she's been training Cynthia for the last month, and I know that she's going to do a great job. I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we get a second on that?
I did.
Yes, we did. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
Move the adoption of a resolution to approve the purchase of a 2019 Dodge Charger police vehicle to replace the one totaled in an accident. The total vehicle cost, including all equipment and installation, is $38,701 to Bush Electronics and Maine Motor Car, utilizing New York State contract pricing. The cost of the vehicle will be covered by insurance checks from the at-fault driver's insurance company, totaling $26,774.28. The cost of the equipment and installation will be covered by stock DWI funds, the amount of $11,926.72.
Second.
Any board discussion? I'm going to miss getting rid of those Fords, Chief. I'm a Ford guy. So I guess, but they called me Marky Mopar in high school.
No,
so-
I'm willing to spend another $7,000 to go with the SUVs.
No. We'll go with the Chargers. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other board discussion on this? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you.
Move the adoption of a resolution to accept the 2019 additional year extension bid for the following service: property maintenance code violations from AAA Quick Plows and Lawns Incorporated.
Second.
Any board discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Vern?
Move for the adoption of a resolution to declare an HP printer serial number CNJ1R6533 surplus and of no use to the town.
And be disposed because it is broken.
Second.
Any further board comments or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? We pass unanimously. Thank you. We had a real problem, some of you may know, we had a serious sewer break a couple weekends ago in the town of Cicero, and Steve Snell, our engineer, is going to talk to us about what happened and what the engineers feel we need to do without a doubt.
Thank you. A couple things I'd like to just bring to the board's attention.
Who's yours, Mike?
None of them.
They're not working down here.
Oh, that's nice.
You want to take one of ours, Steve? Yeah, why don't you grab a mic so everyone can hear you? Maybe you want to stand at the podium.
The one right here at the podium.
Podium. Where that is.
Podium's work.
Yeah, okay.
I guess.
Test.
Couple things I want to bring to the board's attention. As you mentioned, yes, there was an issue. There was a emergency repair that we had to make on January 25th, which was on a Friday afternoon. Lake County was performing some maintenance on these sewers in front of Fast Track on Route 31. And it's shown in the diagram over here. I don't know if everyone can see it or not. Basically, this area right here. All this, the lines up there in yellow are all the public sanitary sewers. And so the issue was the county was trying to clean the line out, perform some maintenance, and they got their hose stuck in the line. So this happened on Friday afternoon. So we had to call in a contractor. We had to replace around 20 feet of the main right in the middle of the property. Major disruption to Fast Track at the time and very busy area on Friday afternoon. So that repair went on until 2:30 in the morning Saturday. So that was completed. They had to put a bypass pump in place during that time. We got that work done on Saturday. The county came back out to run a camera in the line to check the condition of the rest of it. And they got their camera stuck in the line. So the problem is the line is shot. There's no bottom to the pipe. And the line has a significant amount of flow in it. And that's what the camera got stuck on, basically. And it was right next to one of the manholes in the northwest corner of the property. And it was literally like 8 feet from the manhole. They just could not dislodge it to get it out. So we had to call in the contractor again on Sunday, 6 o'clock. We had to start that manhole. And they had to replace about 10 or 12 feet of the line where it entered the manhole. The pipe they took out had no bottom to it. That's how we found out that that's probably how the rest of the condition of the main is. So currently that's a big problem that we have. That line between manhole to manhole is about 170 feet. So right now it has 2 patches in it. I would recommend that we line that section, that 170-foot section, manhole to manhole. We can do that through a county piggyback contract for less than $10,000. So I would recommend that we proceed with that. That's the first item, is repairing that section. Actually, one more thing I'll point out relative to repair. The line where it crosses 31, that was actually lined about 7 or 8 years ago. I think the same situation was found. The pipe was shot and they lined that section. So you have a new line going underneath 31. So that's good news. And if we line that section in front of Fast Track, that'll be a brand new line. So that would be great if we could do that. The other item is, I think we have a capacity issue with the sewer in front of Fast Track and the line that crosses 31. And it's primarily due to what we're receiving from Clinton's Ditch. We're getting a significant amount of flow through the line in front of Fast Track, and most of it is coming from Clinton's Ditch. We got some flow information from the county. They reached out to them, and basically what we found was the peak discharge from Clinton's Ditch is just about the maximum capacity of the line in front of Fast Track alone. So without any more contributing to that system, it's maxed out. Now, the peak discharge is likely not, it's not all day, it's only for peak durations. We don't know exactly what the duration is. If you look at the average flow rate, it's not exceeding the capacity, but it's getting very close. So there is a bottleneck in that part of the system. And I don't know if you can see in the diagram, but you also notice the line going up towards Clinton's Ditch is 10-inch, and the line in front of Fast Track is 8-inch.
You just point that out, Steve,
Yep.
pointer, so everyone understands.
Yep. So this is 10-inch, this goes up to Clinton's Ditch. This is where the repair was, this is 8-inch, this is 8-inch right here, this is 10-inch. This all goes to this line, it is a county sewer, which is 10-inch. So these lines are old, they're 40+ years old. The line in front of Fast Track was installed in 68, and the line that crosses 31 was installed at the same time in 68. The line going up to Clinton's Ditch was installed in 71, and it was larger. We don't know the rhyme or reason why, but it was a larger pipe. So you have an 8-inch, you have 10-inch going to 8-inch, then the 10-inch. So what's likely the case also is the county's line right here is undersized as well. So this line right here should probably be increased as well, but that's on like a county line, not a town facility. So having said that, what could free up capacity in these two lines, because to replace these two lines, these two in blue, would be very expensive, you know, to cross 31 in those two areas. So,
Can you give us some estimates on cost?
so what we looked at was the line I'm showing you in black. This is a possible location of a relief sewer that would take all the flow coming from the north in this direction, empty into the county line, which would free up capacity here and here. To do that, we'd have to put a casing under 31, because the state won't allow us to open cut 31. We put a steel casing in, and then it would probably be a 12-inch sewer, is what we would put it. 10-inch probably would work, but we would look at it. It would either be 10-inch or 12-inch. To do that, the project cost would be right around $190,000. That would be everything. You know, it's not a lot. A lot of sewer we have to put in. It's only 160 or 70 feet we have to install, but it would be around 190,000 is what we estimate. So we have two items. We have the repair that we should continue, lining that section in front of Fast Track, and then something to keep in mind is you really need more capacity in front of Fast Track. So.
All right, we'll open it up to some board questions because we need to resolve this. So we had Tiroli, our vendor, there on a Saturday.
Correct.
And it was snowing like the blazes, and then they were back on Sunday on this line, and I know we paid double time or whatever it is for these people to be there, 4 or 5 people to be there. So what have we paid, what do we owe Tiroli for the repairs that were done already?
I just got the invoice. I haven't had a chance to review it to cause the backup, which would just basically surcharge the pipe and surcharge the manhole, and it'll basically come out of the manhole cover.
So, and if we do that, we have serious problems with DEC and everybody else, right? So your proposal is to the board is to install a new line, a 10-inch line. You're saying probably a 12-inch into a 10, but you're the engineer, you can figure it out. Install a new line that will take the flow from the Pepsi plant, bypass the existing 8-inch pipe, and feed it directly into the county 10-inch line, correct?
Correct. So that it does serve other things. There, the Cracker Barrel, there are apartments that it serves. So there are other
users of that line.
Other users, other connections,
okay.
Correct. So it just basically would free up capacity in that crossing at 31. So that's what it would help remedy. We would not have that situation where that line is continuously running full all the time.
Okay.
And where it could be an issue in the future.
Okay. So that, if the board chooses to approve that line, you're saying the approximate cost is about $100,000 to install that line. And that's soup to nuts engineering and
About 190,000.
Or 190, sorry, 190,000. $190,000, and that should keep that whole section flowing, keep us out of trouble with DEC, which we're responsible for, to rectifying the problem, right? So if we're proactive with it.
And I've talked to the county water department protection about this as well. And they're in agreement that the line in front of Fast Track, it's slightly undersized.
Yeah, Tom and his people over there have that proposal.
Yep.
All right, so that leaves us, where do we come up with 190,000, right? So this is what a healthy fund balance is for, folks. We have a very healthy fund balance. Along with our AA credit rating, this town is very, very financially secure. And the next board, I think, will reap the benefit of that. So the other thing that we did is we put together an offset fund. So we have a budget line, because when new businesses come to Cicero, we started that 2 years ago, not every town does it, that we calculated the water usage and what would be going into the sewers, and then we charge them a fee. Right, Neil?
That's $4 per gallon increase.
Right. So we've put that into a kitty, and that kitty, if you will, that we were going to use for matching funds to continue to repair our sewers. So the town has the money to repair it. And what I don't want to do, but we probably may have to do after talking to the controller, is take money out of that offset fund that I would rather be using to continue repairing pipes going into the Brewerton plant, sewage plant, right, and to continue working that. But if we have to take a diversion, I suppose we could take a diversion of the money we already have to make this happen, right? So that would be my argument to the board on this. Any questions to the board or discussion? We need to talk about this, so if you have a question.
I do. Steve, there's 2 hotels, Cracker Barrel, the apartments, and Gander, right, that all flow into that. When, plus Pepsi. When Pepsi, you may not know this because you weren't here at the time, do you know if there was because I know that they had to provide a flow clause when they actually went on the site plan, if they had exceeded that, is there a clause in there that they would have to revisit that?
I'm not sure about the clause or if there's a maximum. I do have the peak discharge from the county that they gave me. It's about double, the peak discharge is about double their average daily discharge to the system.
So they are within their limits as far as, or they're over?
Well, I don't know what their limit, what they were, if the county established a number, I don't know what that is. I'm not aware of it.
My other question is that you spoke about putting a possible 12-inch steel casing in. That's
It
going
would be
to,
larger.
right, but that's going to still flow into an 8-inch, is that?
The steel casing would contain the pipe inside.
Right, but I
So it
mean,
would be
but it's going to
inside
still flow into an 8-inch, which is going to be undersized for the
that.
county.
You would
This is
discharge
the
it to
county's,
yeah, we discharge the county 10-inch.
all right.
So it would be up to the county
Okay.
then if they
All
would,
right, I
to
misunderstood
increase their
that.
line. So
Okay.
we would not be responsible for the county's portion.
And none of this can be sleeved? It wouldn't make sense to sleeve it?
Do you mean
Like we did when we went under 31.
Well, we are sleeving it, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah,
We are sleeving the
we're not getting, yeah,
damaged pipe.
we are doing the pipe that we have to rehabilitate, yes. But we would, this is putting in a new line.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 8-inch where it crosses 31 is undersized.
Right.
So,
Is that what we're going to replace?
so we
The
would.
one we did in
So no, we would keep that in
2012?
service, so. We would keep that line in service, so this is right here, where you're talking
Okay.
about. This would stay in service. The new line would be right here.
Where you put the black?
Yep,
Okay.
there's a manhole right there. And then, so really, this line right here, you can take out,
Okay.
because
Now we're
there's
going to
nothing
have,
connected.
we're going
So
to have
everything
another.
coming down from Cook's Ditch, so it comes right here, it's gonna go this way to there, versus go this way, across here.
Because we've got another building that's going to be going up on that corner as well. There's another
Yeah,
business that's.
Yeah, their
going-
connection is either gonna be at this manhole or just this side of the manhole.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I have a question, couple. This 10-inch line that comes down from Kearns Ditch, was that put in just to handle that extra flow from the next ditch? Or was a 10-inch already there for Cracker Barrel, who I believe was there?
no, it was, the as-built drawings that we have started at number 31 and extended all the way to Clinton's Ditch. So it's when Clinton's Ditch was
All right.
started
Okay,
in 1971.
yeah. And the other thing is, can we get, when we'd be able to get some firm numbers so we know exactly what it's gonna cost us? I know this,
for
pretty
the
good shape,
rates,
but still.
I mean, I could reach out to a contractor to get some pricing. The bulk of the cost is gonna be the crossing, the board crossing.
Right.
Those prices, I mean, you know, they could
Vary
vary,
cost
they could vary
or
from,
high
you
no matter
know,
what.
$400 a foot to $1,000.
Yeah.
You know, the number that I used was $750 a foot. So, I mean, that's the bulk of, you know, what the construction cost would be, is that
Okay,
cost.
good,
So,
thanks.
All right, so come back with some numbers, and then when you have some numbers, we'll run it past the controller, and then we'll run it past the board, and then we'll go from there.
sure.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
A couple other things, the Brewerton, just a couple of announcements. The Brewerton Hamlet Update Meeting. A public meeting will be held at the Brewerton Fire Department at 9625 Brewerton Road on Wednesday, March 6th at 6:30 p.m. The This is the next step in the ongoing local waterfront revitalization program planning process for the hamlet of Brewerton and the town of Cicero. We've had one already, and this will be the second one where residents need to input to us and to the Brewerton Revitalization Committee what they would like Brewerton to look like. This workshop will review the work thus far and present concepts for community projects, including improving trails and connectivity, enhancing streetscapes, and expanding recreation opportunities based on ideas suggested at the first public meeting. The public will have an opportunity to provide feedback on the concepts. Staff members from the town and a consulting team will be on hand to help guide the discussion. All local residents and business owners are encouraged to attend and provide input. The second is we are launching a town logo contest, which is effective this month, or effective tomorrow, February 14th. The town will be accepting design creations for a new town logo beginning February 14th through March 29th. The contest is open to all students, artists, and inspired community members. A 7-member committee will be reviewing all the entries. For contest rules, go to the town's website, www.ciceronewyork.net, Town Logo Contest for more information. I would encourage all students and all people with artistic ability to apply. The town of Cicero has changed. It's not the town it was 20 years ago. We are now considered a leader, not only in Onondaga County, but the state of New York on many indices, and it's time to update. The staff here felt it was time to update our logo to better reflect who the town is now and who we will be moving forward. So I would ask you to do that. At this point, I will open the...
Mark,
Yes,
can I say something?
you may.
Joy, who's the 7 members?
David Kirk and myself were asked to put something together. We selected someone from the Cicero Plank Road Chamber, the school district, the senior center, the canteen, a town employee, a planning board member, and an official, elected official. So Nicole Walsh, Chuck Abbey, Heidi Lalong from Codes, Cece Serrano is the teen rep, Elaine Davis from the senior center, Tracy Lieberman from the school district, and Ryan Cregan from the chamber.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One last thing, I'm sorry, and I apologize to Chris and to Don Snyder. Don, you've got a video for us tonight.
Yes,
Can you lead us off and talk to us about this video?
yes. Can I just want to make one other comment too.
Absolutely.
We're watching the dollars on this project really close. You did not get in your pocket today $101,000 that we didn't know you were going to get in your pocket. So all the numbers that you've been shared from us, and we said how much this project's going to cost, we had that number in there. So don't go home excited about you found $101,000. You didn't. We already found it. Literally, it took our architect, engineer, it took him that long, probably a month and a half, to convince the contractor that he really wants to finish the software contract. And we probably did save money even in the GC work by doing this. We tried to get a fast start on the building. The weather held us back, so we ended up really just shorting what little he did with the rest of the GC. So, you know, we've washed our hands. Chris and his son Joe did a video, and this is the latest and greatest. I understand it's going to knock our socks off. Tomorrow morning, they start the first concrete pour of the floor. The administrative area will be poured tomorrow. 150 yards of concrete, 15 trucks. Will probably take us most of the day to get it down and get it leveled. And then
Is this where the $101,000 went, this video?
yeah. Contractor doing the roofing and siding. We're back in about 3 weeks to do the siding first, and he does the roof last, so it doesn't drown with the rain and melting snow. Roughly half the site that we bought is being used for the facility. We will have a fuel station that will do gas and diesel. So all of our vehicles that we have in the town, we'll be able to use that, the police department, Parks and Rec, as well as the highway, growing plan. So they won't have to go to North Syracuse to get fuel. Obviously, they're gonna build a salt shed like the one we have out in the backyard right now to store our salt and be legal. Now, this is the neat part. He's now taking you inside the building. Building's roughly, help me down, 480 feet?
483.
483 feet. You're only gonna see roughly less than 400 feet of the building is what's being shown, because there's 5 bays beyond that wall. That is the wall that separates where the trucks and the equipment park and the area that's for administration and the 3 bays for repair work on our vehicles. We've even taken advantage, you'll see on the left-hand side, the steel comes out, there's a mezzanine up there, so we can park pickup trucks underneath that, and the mezzanine gives us storage space, which we never have enough of. The black part in the middle is a doorway that can move equipment and/or trucks in and out of that bay if we needed to do that. The big orange thing in the middle of the picture is a floor drain, a trench drain. As you know, you're not allowed in a garage to dump that kind of stuff in a sewer without an oil-water separator. So we are doing that. We have 3 trench drains in the building, plus 1 in the mechanics area. That is a little extra dirt that we have from the site. Anyone like to bid on buying that dirt? I think we'll put a bid for that too.
And that's good topsoil too.
Yeah, well, actually half of it's topsoil and half it's construction soil. So there's the latest and greatest on the building.
Awesome.
Now, the one thing I wanted to say while I was up here, since I got the mic. I know I'm an old guy and I forget things, but we paid, I think, $380,000 for 4,400 foot of sewer line. We went under Route 31 twice. We only did 4 and 6 inch lines, but it was all drilled, except where they got into trouble. I'm a little concerned about the price that we have for coming across Route 31. If it's $190,000, that sounds like an awful lot of money compared to what we did on the sewer system. So obviously, you know, one of the people I would check with is obviously Lanco, who did the.
I think we should put it out to bid, but we'll.
Well, I certainly got to put it out to bid, but I think if Lanco gets it, I don't think we're talking. Now, I don't know what the engineering fees are. We gotta look at that and make sure that those fees are reasonable. Remember, we're poor. We're broke.
Thank you.
Any questions about the building?
No, I was just saying, thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you for that comment. No, actually, Steve does, and our engineer does a great job. I tease him all the time about it. All right, that being said, thank you very much. Yes?
I wasn't done.
Oh, okay.
I had a couple more questions. In regards to, when we talk about the logo, where did this idea come from? Seeing as this is a surprise to me as a board member.
It came from the staff.
Staff.
Yes,
You mean
the employees in the town building, yes.
Okay.
So it's replacing that?
All right, and that'll do it for now. I have one other thing. I'd asked Joe Snell, we had a situation this morning that I had read and talked to Joe about it in regards to our police response and all of that. And if Joe, if you would, kind of give us an update on what went on this morning.
I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Myers, but I just want to let everyone know that our response time to this incident, from the time we got it from 911 to the time we first arrived, I would say was less than a minute. So I'll let Sergeant Myers talk a little bit about what happened.
You want a mic over here?
If you want me to have a mic, or I can speak loud enough.
You want to bring Steve?
Is that better?
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm going to keep everything neutral and gender neutral so I don't violate any privacy acts with this discussion or addresses or anything. But long story short is 9:30 or so this morning, there was a 911 call for a possible cardiac arrest. A person was snowblowing their driveway and was witnessed slumping over the tractor they were snowblowing with by a neighbor. So that's graciousness number one. Neighbor witnessed it, immediately called 911. More satellites linking up. An ICU nurse was on her way to work driving by, and in the other direction a nurse was on her way home driving by. All of these people stopped. So we have an immediate 911 call and we have CPR going on in the driveway. Our first officer was on scene in approximately a minute with a defibrillator. Several of us additionally arrived from the office within probably 2 minutes. CPR, defibrillation, CPR, another round of defibrillation, all prior to fire department or ambulance arrival, in person talking upon getting loaded into the ambulance. We'll keep praying that this person survives, but as our last update, they were answering questions, talking, having a discussion with us, and transported to the hospital, all because of the quick response of the police department and the luck of the bystanders that, had some knowledge of what they were doing. So that was a very good day for us at the police department.
Super. Good. Thank you.
Thought that was noteworthy.
No, it's very noteworthy, and thank you, Judy, for that. We'll open it up to public discussion. Anyone like to approach? Yes, please.
First of all, Mr. Vineski, I want to thank you for your thorough explanation of the brush contract. And I also want to thank Councilors Boyke and Hart for their explanation of their abstentions. Unfortunately, neither Councilor Cushman or Councilor Conway chose to tell us why they voted yes, though I suspect another reason. I want to tell you also that for a number of years I was a professional buyer for a very large company in Oswego County. And when I or any of my colleagues put out something for bid, if the specifications weren't met, we did not consider that vendor. But I do appreciate your efforts to save the town $100,000 plus. I would also like to mention about the appointment for the ad hoc member. I understand totally Councilor Boyke and Councilor Cart's abstentions. As Mr. Vineski knows, process is very important. And I was privy to a process. So thank you for not being followed. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Supervisor, you've had a lot of things to say about me. Let's correct a few things. On December 14th,
I can't hear you.
Tell us who you are. I'm Ian Hunter. I'm the Vice President of Last Chance Recycling. I'm the person that did not get the vote of this board to pick up the brush. What the supervisor doesn't tell you is that on December 14th, 2016, he threw all the bids out for the brush pickup. And he stated that the reason he did that was because he didn't like the way the bid specs were presented, and he wanted to correct the problems, and he would rebid it. Well, it took him exactly 785 days to bid it properly, and it cost me $20,000 to get a lawyer to show the town that they weren't doing it properly. He talks about, the bid specs changing them. Nothing's ever changed. For the last 10 years, the bid specs have been the same. Nothing's changed. In one particular time when his attorney and my attorney went to Judge Karolounis, the town attorney went along with Hancock Estabrook, who they hired to to argue this thing. They needed the big guys to do it. Judge Carlunas leaned over and talked to Mr. Germain. She says, why didn't they accept Last Chance Recycling's bid? You know what his answer was? I don't know. Well, they couldn't even tell the judge why they didn't accept the bid. Now, you talk about this particular bid, it's going to cost $105 more. What you didn't tell these people here, these townspeople, that there's an additional 2 years that they can extend the bid. So actually, that's $210,000. If you add the $67,000, that was the difference between what my bid was originally in 2016 for 2017. You spend $67,000 more to get the same work done. We're talking about $300,000. $300,000 you better spend on an ambulance or a fire truck or something, or fixing the potholes in the road. And as far as my credibility, you've insulted me. You've insulted my family. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got an excellent reputation. I've got excellent credit. My company did 37% of the entire storm. People don't realize that, you know? And I've done work for this town, never had a problem. I do work for Manoa, I do work for East Syracuse now. I've done it for the brush pickup for clay. And I never had a problem with clay. I never had a problem with DeWitt, or not DeWitt, but Manlius. I don't know why this is going on, but it's not over. It's not over. Even though you've put it out to bid, you didn't follow the law again. And I'm not going to go into details now because it doesn't mean anything, but you will be hearing from it. And I really, this is corrupt. This whole process is corrupt.
There's nothing.
The only way you get rid of corruption is to get rid of the corruptors. And I'm going to work to try and do that. That's all I can tell you.
We follow the law, and the attorneys will
right.
attest to that. Thank you very much. Anyone else before we close? There being none, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Doing Wednesday work.
Thank you. I sent all of the board